my shop today, but not for long. I've got to get on the road and get back up to Resurgence Automotive because that's where Dig Dug's at. I just had to come home for a couple of days. I've got two things I've got to do here before I take off. The first is making brackets for the Chevelle, for the hoop that's going in there. And second, I need to make that brace for the AC pump that got notched into my hoop. I need to build that here and take it with me. Before I start building anything though, I just got this package from Vision Wheel. These are the new wheels that are going on to Dig Dug. And I've never seen them in person. They're a brand new style. So I want to open this up and check them out. Oh, there's another box. Oh, here we go. Oh, check those out. Okay, this is a classic wheel for a classic truck. These are what fancy wheels looked like in the 80s, and they have redone this design beautifully. They're incredibly shiny, the 8-hole pattern. These are awesome. These are gonna look so good on Dig Dug. A little too good. I'm not gonna wanna scratch them, but I will. Okay, I can't wait to get these mounted up and the wheels and tires on the truck. All right, it's time to get to work. First, I'm cutting out the material for the roll cage tabs. Spencer can use these to make the tabs that he needs for the Chevelle roll cage. I'm gonna build a brace for Dig Dug that's gonna go on the back side of the hoop where I notched it for the AC pump. I'm gonna cut it out and build it here, then I'll install it when I get up to Resurgence Automotive. That fits pretty good. This piece is all finished up for right now. I opened up the back side, so it'll lay down onto a piece of tubing like that, and I can weld it all together. The bottom end, I left it long so I could tie that down into the frame and it'll all connect together and get really, really strong. The rest of this work all needs to get done on my truck up at Resurgence Automotive. I'm gonna drive up there now, and for you, I'll be there like that. I'm back at Resurgence Automotive, picking up right where I left off. I've got my brace here to patch up this hoop. I'm just gonna fit it down in here. I'm gonna make a few measurements, cut off the end, and then I can get this thing welded in. I've got this piece marked out, and I've also got a little reinforcement plate that I'm gonna weld onto the frame that this will attach to. So I'm gonna cut these up, prep the frame, and then I can weld them in. I'm patching up some holes in the frame so water won't get in from the back side. I want this reinforcement plate to be attached to the frame as strong as possible, so I'm going to punch a bunch of holes in it so I can do some plug welds. This reinforcement piece is ready to go in. Let me show you how it fits. It fits right in here like this, and I think it's gonna make this the strongest part of the hoop. Patching this hole is the last thing I've got to do on this hoop. So I'm gonna start cutting out and shaping some parts to fit in there. All right, I made this part and I welded a little handle on it so I can hold it down in there, and so that if I drop it, it doesn't slide down the tube. This brace is all finished up. I'm gonna let it cool off for a little bit before I try to install the AC compressor. Let's go check on how the Chevelle's doing.
Then we come in a little bit.
All right, it's time to get these tires mounted up to the new wheels. So I got everything loaded up in the truck, got the wheels here behind me, and I'm heading into town. I'm going to Eagle Mountain, and I'm gonna hit the Burt Brothers there and get these mounted up for me. All right, I'm just gonna leave these here, run off to lunch and come back and grab them, and this will be a lot easier than trying to do it on my little tire machine. All right, we got the wheels switched over and loaded up. I'm just gonna head back to the shop and get back to work. We've been back from the shop for a little bit. We got our tires unloaded. Let me show you what we got done up here. Mathis stopped by and helped me for a little while. We got the air conditioning in, and we wrapped a string around it to figure out how long the belt needs to be now that we've added something into the serpentine pulley system. So that's ready to go. Down here we put in the torque converter to flex plate bolts, and we installed the starter. Okay, I got called off the truck for a little bit because they need to build a roll cage, or at least one hoop in the Chevelle, and they have a really cool bender over here that I'm gonna show you. This is a JD Squared Model 4. It's fully hydraulic. It's super fast and easy. So we played with it for a little bit and we got one good bend, and now we're gonna do another one. I'll show you how it works. This roll cage needs to be removable, so we have these little joints that'll bolt in and bolt out. So we'll have 3 of them, 2 down on the floor and 1 up in the middle. All right, when I was at home, I drew up this roll cage in the software, and it shows me my cut lengths and my bend angles. The lengths are 22 3/8 and 37.
37 after that.
No, 37 total. Just keep running from that end, yeah.
37.
How's the Chevelle doing tonight? Is it gonna fire up today?
We're planning to start it up tonight for the first time.
Oh, that would be awesome. It's going to SEMA tomorrow, so starting it today is good. All right, this one's slick. You just push this button here and it goes, and it's fast. What was our magic number? 46 and 70. Okay. It has a really cool degree ring etched down into the base. Yeah, that's 40. There you go. It's that easy.
So nice how easy this is.
Yeah. What's the number? 70. All right, we've been testing these bars in here, and we did some bending. We did a little unbending that I've never done before, but it worked. and they're looking perfect now. So we're gonna figure out the mounting plates down here in the corner, and then we can figure out how to weld this in. We've been peeling back the sound deadener in here so we can get in and weld these plates for the hoop to attach to. And we did a little CAD work and came up with these. I'm gonna cut out 2 of these, and I think Spencer's gonna clean this up so we can weld to it. This will give us a starting point to build the hoop off of. It's a little messy, but I'm gonna turn this sheet of steel into a couple of those base plates.
Videoing my mess.
Yeah, it's looking awesome. He's been wiring in here like crazy, and things are starting to work. Check this out down here. All right, fire them off. Oh, that's cool.
Luke, I am your father.
Can you hear me, Rob?
I can hear you from the back of the car.
That's gonna be really loud. All right, I'm ready to start welding in these plates, but we are almost out of gas, so I'm hoping it'll hold out for the end of the night so we can finish this roll bar. Looks like we're in good alignment right there.
This has got to twist just barely forward.
All right, we got the bar all welded up, but it is super late. We've been here for like 16 hours. It's 12:30. We are actually taking this car today now. So we're gonna go get a couple hours of sleep, come back and finish this up. There's still a lot to do. Okay, everybody came back early this morning to work on the Chevelle. There's a whole bunch of people here now. Spencer's whole family is here. And the thing I worried about yesterday with the gas bottle finally happened. So somebody ran out and got a new one. I'm gonna switch this out and I'll get back to working on this cage. We've added a seatbelt bar on the back of it. We've already got it all mocked up and fit together. I'm just gonna weld it up right now. It looks like we're good to go. The last thing I need to do on the roll cage is put on some seatbelt tabs. So I'm gonna chop them out of these gussets and drill some holes in them, weld them up, and then I can give this over to the painters and they'll clean it up and make it pretty. Lots of stuff going on here. We just measured up where the seatbelt mounts need to go. Looks like they got a console in. They've got some fuel leaks they're chasing down right now, and then they'll be able to start it up. There's 2 massive Aramona fuel pumps that power this thing, so fuel leaks could be really bad. You could dump a lot of fuel out really quick. Sorry, I'll get out of your way.
Oh, you're good.
Water.
That one fitting was just loose.
took a few tries, but we got this thing to fire up. There was a wire that was connected for the drive-by wire throttle body that wasn't supposed to be connected. And when we undid it, everything fired up. It ran, but it doesn't have any coolant in it right now. So these guys are working on getting all the hoses in place so that we can fill it up. Then we can run it for a long time and start tuning the thing. All right, Spencer took this hoop and he sandblasted it, and then they sanded down all these welds and smoothed them out, at least the ones in the middle of the bar here. And now it's ready for paint. Here comes Rob right now. He's gonna throw some primer down on this, and then, what colors are gonna be?
It's not black.
It'll be black?
Yeah, same as the shirt.
All right. It is really hot in there. How long is that going to take to dry?
About 30 minutes
30 minutes?
to bake that, so it'll flash, and then I'll turn around and put black on it.
Awesome. It's going to look great.
Killer.
All right, I've got a little bit of time here to work on Dig Dug, and I got the AC compressor all installed over here. It's looking good. Now I'm gonna work on the master cylinder. People were worried last week in the comments that it wasn't gonna come out or I wouldn't be able to open it and check the fluid. I have a new master cylinder. It's the same style, but it has ports on both sides, so they won't be aimed into the shocks. I can use the one on the passenger side. So we're gonna see if this thing is trapped in here or if it'll come out. It is a pretty tight fit up in here, but when I checked, there was definitely some clearance. Well, it's definitely not trapped in there. Came out pretty easy actually. I don't know if the lid would come off or not, so I'm gonna put the new one in. I'm just gonna check and see how it works, see if I can get the lid on and off, and then I'm gonna paint it. Here it is. Here's the new master cylinder. You can see it comes just raw bare steel and it'll rust up really quick. So I'm gonna paint this with POR 15, but first I just wanna put it in here and make sure it's gonna fit. Oh yeah, that seems like it's gonna fit. This is gonna work just fine. I'll be able to install it. I'll be able to check my brake fluid. I'm gonna go paint it. Painting this with POR 15 top coat, and this is like a semi-gloss color. They call it chassis black, and Rob loves it because it has a finish that looks just like the OEM finish on chassis. So I'm just gonna brush it on and it'll look beautiful in the morning. This thing's glossy right now because it's still wet, but I'll show you the finish after it dries. It does look really, really good. It looks like an OEM satin black. I've shot the black on the cage and it's looking awesome. It's also got this spoiler that they completely reshaped. It was built for a different vehicle, but it fits perfect now on the Chevelle and it looks amazing.
So you know where to put your thumb.
All dry on this thing now. Check out the finished. It's a beautiful semi-gloss. I'm gonna get all this tape off here and bolt it into the truck. The next thing I'm gonna work on is replacing these exhaust manifolds. The ones that are in here right now are just stock manifolds. Let me show you these new ones. The new ones are from Summit Racing. They look like they're gonna flow a little bit better. The outlet ports are angled so they'll be easier to install. And they've got this awesome finish on them. I really like the way they look. I've already got my exhaust unhooked, so I just need to unbolt these and pull them out. So here's the old manifold and the new manifold. On this one, the exhaust comes this way and then kicks back down. On this one, it just curves straight down. When I put the engine in, I installed these new metal laminated gaskets and they look fine. I'm just gonna reuse them. You can see right here that this exhaust manifold fits this frame way better. It's gonna be a lot easier to install the exhaust downstream. This is just a better design for this truck. It also looks fabulous in there. This side's also in and it's looking really good. And I can already tell that it's gonna be a lot easier to install the exhaust over here as well. I'm gonna stop right here and go check on how things are going with the Chevelle. It was supposed to get out of here yesterday and they are still working away on it. It looks like there's still a lot of work to do on the Chevelle and they're having a meeting right now to figure out what's gonna get done before SEMA and what's gonna get done after SEMA. I'm gonna be going down to SEMA as well and I'm gonna have a couple of days right after SEMA that I could work on Dig Dug, so I'm gonna bring it down to Hurricane with me. After that, I'll haul it right back up here and then we'll get all this body work done and the paint job finished.
Don't turn.
Center's over there. Down, back up, stop, back up.
Hold on, let's see what's happening.
All right, Rob, it looks really good. Thank you.
You bet. Take good care of it, wax it. You're gonna wanna put it away dry or it will rust.
All right, I'll be really careful with it.
Be super careful.
I'm actually coming back in like a week. So I'll get to work on it in a couple days, then it'll be right back here.
Be perfect.
Okay, thanks, man.
You bet, drive safe.
I'm all loaded up and I'm dieseled up, so I'll see you in Hurricane. All right, I made it back down. The trip went really good, and now I'm trying to unload this. So I've got one winch on the front and one on the back, so it'll go down the ramps, but not too fast. This one needs to go in, and this one needs to go out. Hopefully they go at just the same pace. We got everything unloaded and now we're heading on to SEMA. We just got this put in here, so it'll be here ready for me to work on when I get back. We got in last night late and the car wasn't even here yet. So we went to bed and this morning they pulled the car into SEMA and they're still putting it together right now. Nate's got this fender going on. Rob just showed up and they put the front bumper on right here. The paint on that is probably not dry yet. There's a little bit more assembly work to do. They're gonna keep working on this car, but they made it. All right, Rob, this thing's come a long way from sitting on its chassis a week ago.
It sure has.
Like, now it's all together. Have you gotten any sleep?
The the same amount of sleep you got, minus what you got last night.
All right, and I see you're holding a polisher.
This is my old one. The new one's, we broke the new one. We had to bring out old reliable.
Did you polish it this morning, last night? When did this get done?
Well, this morning.
Okay,
Yeah.
in the parking lot.
Right here.
Well, it looks amazing.
It looks cool. Turned out great.
Okay, we're gonna show you like our favorite things while we're here at SEMA. Right here, this is number one.
If I can get this one on here, do you see it on the chart? Okay.
I'm here at the Miller booth right now. Definitely one of my favorite things at the show, and they have some really cool new products I want to show you really quick. This is the new laser welding booth. I'm here with Rob, and he's showing me their new laser welder. And we're gonna try it out really quick. Super excited, I've never done this before, and what he's showing me here looks amazing. Here we go. Oh wow, yeah, that is awesome. This is the future of welding here, right here, guys. I'm here in the Challenger lift booth, checking out some of their new products. I love my Challenger lift. I couldn't do what I do without it, but let me show you some of the other stuff they're making. This right here is a giant lift cart. I think it's designed to pull batteries in and out of EVs, but I think it would be awesome for lifting axles and transmissions in and out of things. I'm often working on my own, so this thing is super cool. They've also got new tire changing equipment. This would really speed things up in my shop. All right, I'm here at the Cane Cut drill bit booth at SEMA, and this is one of my favorite products in my shop, so it's cool to be here at their booth and get to meet Andy here, the owner.
Yep. And I appreciate you, and I'm glad you like our products. So
yeah, it's been awesome. So we're gonna check out some of the stuff they've got over here, some new products coming out in the future. We'll just keep using them. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Tom.
SEMA was amazing, but I'm back here at my shop now and I need to get to work. I've got about 2 days to get this truck up and running again. I'm gonna take it up to Rob's, Resurgence Automotive, and we'll get some paint on this thing, and then I'll take it down to Dino's. I've got a whole bunch of wiring, interior, and plumbing work to do, so I'm gonna get at it. I made a bunch of changes to the accessory drive system up here. I've got the new AC pump in, I've got a bigger alternator over here. So we wrapped a string all the way around all the pulleys. I measured that, and this is the closest belt size I could find to my string length. So if it doesn't work, I should know if I need a little bit longer or a little bit shorter, and we'll get another one to try. All right, this is close, but it's not gonna make it. I need it to be about an inch longer. I ordered a new belt, that's on the way, and I'm moving on now to the wiring harness for the fuel injection system. This had a Holley fuel injection system before, so I should just take that wiring harness and be able to route it all over and plug it into all the sensors and fuel injectors and everything, and it should just hook up. Then I'll route everything into the cab, and I've got a new computer that I'll mount somewhere in the cab. Let me show you what I've got. This is the Holley wiring harness. It's a little more complicated than the one I had before because I'm gonna be controlling the transmission now, but it should just snap into everything I've got on that engine. Right here's the computer that comes with it. Also a little bit bigger, but again, it ought to just plug into everything I've got here. This right here is the transmission part. I'm gonna set that aside for a few minutes and focus on the engine. All right, I know this looks like a big mess, but all these wires should tuck down into the engine and just clip into place. I've got the fuel injection wiring mostly installed. I'm over here doing the bare minimum I need to get this thing running. If the minimum wasn't good enough, then it wouldn't be the minimum. I need the starter to work, I need the winch to work, and I need to power up the fuel injection computer and the fuel pump. If I can do all that, then I think it'll run, and that'll get me to the show. There's gonna be a lot of cleanup work to do after that. I was able to reuse my ground wires. I need to build a wire right now from the battery down to the starter. I found some big wire here. I'm gonna strip the ends off, and then I'm gonna fill this little thing with solder and just dip it down in there. I'm gonna stretch this out down to the starter over here, mark it where I need it, and then we'll chop it and do the same thing on the other side. I'm gonna tighten up this wire right here, and then I'm gonna move into the cab and see what has to be done in there. I gotta start working inside the cab, and I wanna show you a few of the things that I'm gonna be putting in there. This right here is a screen that goes on top of the dash. It'll mount up there. It's made by CarBuffNetwork. You can buy these on Amazon. It works with Android Play or CarPlay. Anyway, the cool thing about this is it'll show your phone up on the dash big. So when I'm using Onyx off-road, driving around, I don't have to be looking down at my phone. I can be looking at the dash and I know where I'm going. The next thing I've got here is a set of gauges from Speedhead. They have the ability to totally customize the face of the gauge. So I sent them my logo and the brand stripes, my colors, and this is what we came up with. Super cool. Really excited about getting these installed. And I'm really excited about this speedometer because it has an antenna and it's GPS. I don't have to try and hook it up to the vehicle speed sensor or have a big cable coming up. So I'll have a full set of gauges, even a fuel gauge. Never had a working fuel gauge. We'll see if that'll hook up to the Holly Sender. This last one is a complete wiring harness from Ron Francis. Love their stuff. They're super compact. They're super complete. They have really great diagrams. They use the very best wire, and it just makes life easy having everything marked and labeled and color-coded properly. So all the wires in here, and check this out. This is the fuse box. It's super small, everything's labeled, and it has these terminal strips to hook in each of the wires. Really, really clean. It'll make the install way better. I'm gonna go work on getting this installed, and then I can start running the wires to other things. This panel fits back in here, and this is what I want to mount it onto. And it's kind of a tight fit. If I get it really low, then I can make it so I can still get out these flasher things and these relays on the bottom. So I'm just kind of trying to figure out exactly where these bolts need to be. Then I can drill some holes in here and screw it down. Somewhere like that. Right here is where I want to put it. So I'm going to mark everything out. So all the wires come in these little bundles, these little packs. This is the one for the ignition switch. That's an important one. So I'm gonna wire this up right now. They also have really good instructions. Check these out. I'm gonna follow this wiring diagram as close as I can. I've got to make some changes for the fuel injection system, but the closer I follow this, then the better map I have in the future when I'm trying to troubleshoot it. And also I can call Ron Francis Tech Support and they can help me out. This is nice too. All the wires come terminated on one end, so I just plug them into my switch or whatever I'm working on, and I run the other end back to the fuse box. That was too easy. I've got it all connected up to the switch now. I can just run these wires. I used to buy all the terminals individually, and I would just buy black wire in bulk because that was the cheapest way to do it. That made it really hard to work on down the road. This is going to be a huge help to future me. Right now, I'm just gonna leave this panel right down here on the floor and I'm gonna run all the wires to it and connect them up. If I install it, it'll be in the way of the paint. So down here, it'll be easy to tape off. I've got just enough wiring installed now that I can turn the key on and I can get the computer to come on. So I'm gonna plug in my laptop and I have the old tune from Dig Dug saved in the laptop. So I'm gonna pull that in and then add everything I need to control the transmission. And this thing should be ready to fire up. At least from an electrical standpoint. It looks like everything's working on the computer and with the ECU, so I'm gonna move on and work on getting the rest of the truck ready to run. The next thing I'm gonna work on is the exhaust. I don't have to get the whole thing done right now, but I want at least a few feet of exhaust pipe on there before I fire it up. I've got this universal kit down here of tubing from Summer Racing, so it's got straight pieces. It's got plenty of these 180-degree bends and these 45-degree bends. Between these, I should be able to slice pieces of them out and make the whole thing fit up really nice. I've got these flanges here that'll bolt onto the back of the exhaust manifolds, and then I'll start using the tubing, just combining different pieces until I get a good fit. I'm I'm gonna bolt up these flanges to the bottom of the exhaust manifolds, and then I can figure out what tubing I should weld onto here. They've got some kind of ceramic coating on them. I doubt I can weld to it, so I probably need to sand or grind that off before I start welding things on. Okay, this piece right here is a 45-degree bend, and if I fit it up in here, it's angled really far downward. So I like the length, but it needs to tip way back this way to get the exhaust aiming straight back. All right, this time I'm trying a 90-degree piece. I know it's gonna aim uphill, and I've got my angle finder here so I can measure how much. It's about 23.5. I think I can chop this at an angle with my saw and then rotate the piece, weld it back together, and it'll come out of here nice and level. So that's how it came apart, and I'm gonna twist it like that. That looks kind of wonky, like it wiggles one way and then it wiggles the other way. Might be better to just run a straight pipe off this. I'm gonna go try that. All right, let's see how this does. All right, that looks pretty straight coming off there. And if I go into this, that looks pretty straight. And I like that height a lot. All right, I think we're ready to tack something together. I'm gonna pull this flange back off so I can grind off all that coating, and then it's gonna go right back in and I'm gonna tack this up. I think it's gonna work good. See this shiny stuff? That all needs to come off. Gotta find some O-rings for this side too. But right now, I'm just worried about this. I gotta take off this coating. The exhaust is starting to come together. So I've got it dropping down up here and then going straight back on this side. On the other side, I'm gonna drop down the same way, come back and then do a 90 and have it cross under behind the transmission, and then do another 90 and turn to the back of the truck. From back here, I could do dual exhaust all the way out, or I could do 2-into-1 and have a 3-inch going all the way back. I just wanna get to right here right now. I think that'll be enough exhaust that I can run this thing. It'll be loud, and that's okay. I'm gonna go look in the axle garden and see what I've got out there, because I have a whole bunch of old exhaust pieces dumped over there. I've got a set of Flowmaster Delta Flow 50 series over here. I've got an HP2, I think that's for an XJ. I've got the old Dig Dug exhaust here. Oh, this is one of those gaskets I was looking for. I'll figure out mufflers later. I'm gonna get back to welding those in. I've got this side tacked together. It's looking good and straight. I'm gonna use the same angle when I cut this side over here and build it out the exact same way. Okay, the next one's gonna fit right up in here like this. So we need a piece in between that's about 11 or 12 inches long. They slip together so you don't have to be too precise. All right, here's what it's gonna look like. Comes back, crosses over right about there, then it turns back and heads out. It's looking pretty good. This is gonna work. All right, I've been playing with this for a little while. I've got it all lined up where I want. I think I got enough room for my shift cable. They're sticking pretty straight out the back. All the bends are far enough away I'm not gonna cook everything. I'm gonna tack this in place now. And then I'll pull the whole thing out, weld it together on my bench, and then bolt it back in. All right, that's all of the tacking. The whole thing's coming out now. These are all welded up and they're ready to go back in the truck. I've got to figure out where to put in a bung for the oxygen sensor. So I'm going to test fit up that side first. And you might have noticed that sometimes I'm doing lots of little tacks and sometimes I'm laying down full beads. And the reason for that is some of these joints are butt welds and some of these welds are lap welds. The lap welds, you can lay down a big bead and you won't blow them out. The butt welds, you have to go really slow and be careful or you just blow holes in it. I do the long beads when I can, and I do the zap zap tacks when I have to. All right, let's go fit this one in. This is my oxygen sensor, and I think right back in here would be a good spot for it. So I'm just gonna mark it. I'm gonna put a little dot there, and I'll pull this back out, drill a hole, and weld it in. I'm gonna be using my can cut drill bits because these kind of step drills are really good for drilling thin material like this. So I'll start out with this step bit, and then I'll move up to the Christmas tree. There we go, that'll weld in just like that. This exhaust is back on, and this truck is really close to being able to start again, and it's been a little while since I've driven it, so I'm pretty excited about that. Thanks for watching.